but first we need for a message. Okay. Well, everything is okay. Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you are fine. It's me, Michael Cesar Di Santa, here with you to welcome you in my channel, Michael Cesar Di Santa. Okay? Now, in this channel, I upload a video or have a live stream of some personal vlogs and personal opinions, and particularly some nationalist roast, particularly some personal nationalist roast. But now, here we came to know that our Mufassil the mental contains some mental disorder as we can face. Well, now she she claimed herself a British citizen, and as a British citizen response, Mufassil the mental claimed that Netanyahu state of Israel contains a fake democracy. On the other hand, England would recognize Palestinian terrorism. Well, because England contains real democracy. Perhaps real democracy would be extinct for 4 years from the July 2024, because here is the response from the Mufassil the mental as a self-claimed British citizen. Now let's see what she said. Okay. Well, perhaps I would like to mute I would like to mute the shorts, because the short would contain some negative words or some abusive words. Okay, let's see. Netanyahu has the audacity to say that if the UK recognized Palestine as a state, the Israelis would never visit the UK. As if we give a F. Well, here is a dash written is here, because at the points Mufassil the mental starts abuse to saying the abusive word. As we give the dash, if you step into the UK, you might get arrested. Have you considered that? Dash. Don't try to blackmail the country of real democracy. Not like your country, which is a theocracy in the grab of a fake democracy. Okay, got it. Netanyahu, now dash off. Okay. Now, I hope you got the points. Well, now it is the points when Mufassil the mental abuse our Honorable Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as an abusive words. Okay. Now, first of all, Mufassil the mental said that if Israeli would visit in England, these Israelis can be arrested. Here is that is the threat of Mufassil the mentals. Okay. And but now perhaps Mufassil the mental does not know what is the reality. Okay. Now I would check the reality as soon as possible. Well, perhaps this stream location is in England. Okay. Now, here we go. I would like to. Okay. Salam. Okay. Now here is the points. Mufassil the mental should know about the economy of England. Okay. The UK has dynamic trade landscape with total export value of approximately. Well, I am fine, and you? Well, approximately 40 billion 600 million British pounds, and imports as 55 billion 700 million British pounds in February 2025, resulting in trade deficits of 15 billion 100 million British pounds. Okay. Salam Naim Islam, how are you? Okay. Here as export 40 billion 599 million 999,999.99 British pounds are contributed by Englander to be saboteur of Israel, and 1 British cent are contributed by the neutral Englander. On the other hand, as import 10 billion British pounds are consumed by Englander to be a supporter of Israel, and 10 billion British pounds are consumed by the neutral Englander. But the weird thing is that 35 billion British pounds are consumed by Englander to be supporter of Palestinian terrorists. Okay. Okay. Well, okay, Salam Anisa, you can say the points. You can be my friends, but sometimes I would talk to you about later. But now, here we go. Well, here is the problem, and the problem is that, now, dear Mufassil the mental, I would like to talk with you. Well, what is the real democracy and what is the fake democracy? Okay. Well, the real democracy as an economy of England, the real democracy is 99% of the citizens of England should support Israel in the topic of in the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists and Israel versus Iranian terrorists. Okay, both are same because Iranian terrorists support Palestinian terrorists. Okay, well, Anisa, I would like to talk in Bangla in the several in the next live stream. Don't worry. Okay, but now let's focus on it. What is the real democracy in England? Real democracy in England is that, well, they should support 99% of citizens of England should support Israel to eliminate the every Palestinian terrorist. Well, and the rest of 1% citizen of England can be neutral between the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists. Well, in the real democracy of England, well, there would be no citizen of England should support the Palestinian terrorists. That is the real democracy. But, well, Mufassil the Mentals proclaim a sort of democracy as a real democracy. But the problem is that in the real world, Mufassil Islam self-claimed real democracy is actually the fake democracy. Now, let me tell you what is the fake democracy in the economy. Okay. Fake democracy in the economy is that, well, if 100 citizens, if England contains demonstrative 100 citizens, 20 citizens would support Israel, 30 citizens would neutral, and 50 citizens would support Palestinian terrorists. That is the fake democracy. Because the democracy, Mufassil the Mental claim the real democracy is actually the national threat for sovereignty for a country. And now, here we can say the national foreign sovereign country for a democracy is just a national threat. Okay. Well, okay, now at the point number 0, I would explain what for a trade balance between import and export, we can explain that what is the difference between real democracy versus a fake democracy. Okay. For a demonstrations, well, let's say that your society or your area, that means your ward of the city, well, import export 40,600 British pound. Well, I mean the product to be worth of 40,600 British pound. And well, as the real democracy in your area is that, well, 40,599 British pound of the export of your export of product of your ward of the city is contributed by the member citizen of your ward of the city who actually supports Israel. Well, because Israel is a productive country. Israel is an innovative country. Well, if you support any innovative country, that means as you are a businessman or workers, you can be automatic productive. Well, you can follow Israel as an education that how can you be a productive workers or productive businessman. And here is the points. 40,600 British pound of export product export from your ward of the London city in the points 40,599 British pound is actually contributed by the Englander who support Israel, because this Englander businessman and this Englander workers know that Israel is an innovative country. Well, they can follow, if following the foreign country, they can follow Israel as an education that how can Englander businessmen or Englander workers be productive. Well, in the points is that 40,599 British pound of the export product of your ward of London city is actually contributed by this Englander to be supporter of Israel. On the other hand, there are only $1. There are only 1 British pound of the export products are contributed by the neutral Englander businessmen or the neutral Englander workers. That means, well, these Englander workers does not related to the conflict between Israel versus Palestine. Well, 1 British pound contributor in export product export contributor of your word of the London city neither support Israel nor support Palestine, and here is the circumstance. Well, that is the, well, here is an export way. Okay, now in the points that if for England trade export contains 40 billion 600 million British pound, then 40 billion 599 million 999,999.99 British pounds of the trade export are contributed by the Englander businessman or Englander workers or Englander business employee. Those are actually supporters of Israel. Okay? And the rest of 1 British cent contributed by the Englander businessman or Englander business employee or Englander workers who are crystal neutral between in the conflict between the state of Israel and Palestinian terrorists. Well, but here is an amazing point. None of British cents are contributed contributed by the Englander who support Palestinian terrorists. Well, as the balance of import and export, here you can say export is okay. Well, now let's see what is the import points. Well, as the import points is that, well, number is just a hypothetical but related to the real world. Okay, 10 billion British pounds of the imported product are consumed by the Englander to be supporters of Israel. Okay. Now here you can see, now here I am exposing what is a fake democracy running on England. Well, pro-Israel Englander businessman, pro-Israel Englander business employee, and pro-Englander business workers, that means laborers, contribute 40 billion 599 million 999,999.99 British pound as the exporting the products to the world, and as the import products, how much they consume? They consume, well, 10 billion British pound. Okay. Well, they export products of four times, almost four times than they consume the pro-Israeli pro-Israel Englander exports four times products than they consume the imported products. On the other hand, what is the circumstance of neutral Englander in the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists? Well, they export only one British cent, but they import the product of 10 billion British pounds. Well, 100 British pounds, well, 1 trillion, 100 billion British pounds, 1 trillion British pounds. Oh, okay. That means, well, the neutral Englander consumed 1 trillion ton imported products, then they export the products. Okay. Well, but what if the real democracy would exist in England? Now let's check it out. Well, as a real democracy, well, export would be 40 billion 600 million British pounds, well, and import would be almost 10 billion British pound, 1 British cent, where, well, the pro-Israel Englander export 40 billion 599 million 999.99 British pounds of export products they would export, and what they would consume the imported product only 10 billions. On the other hand, the neutral Englander in the conflict between Israel and versus the Palestinian terrorists, well, the neutral Englander export 1 British cent of products, and they can consume 1 British cent of products. Well, that is the real democracy. But in where the fake democracy starts, is that when import products are is 20 billion British pounds and export products is 40 billion 600 million British pounds, where the neutral Englander between the in the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists export 1 British cent product, but they consumed the 10 billion British pound of imported products. On the other hand, pro-Israel Englanders exports 40 billion 599 million 999,999 British pound 99 British cent, but they as a exporting product, but they consume the imported products as only 10 billion British pounds. Well, and now if the fake democracy would end in like that, there is no problems. But the fake democracy is that, well, import products worth 55 billion 700 million British pounds, where 35 billions, okay, 700 million British pounds are consumed by the Englander who supports the Palestinian terrorists. Well, a Palestinian terrorist as an exporting products, pro-Palestine Englander contributes nothing, but they consume 35 billion 700 million British pounds. And that is the real face of fake democracy existed in England. Well, I apologize to say that now we cannot be stopping to criticize Keir Starmer, the woke Prime Minister of England, because well, the democracy, Mufassil the mental called the real democracy, that is actually the national threat for the sovereignty for England in the points of the balance between import and exports. Well, the democracy, Mufassil the mental, claimed as a real democracy of England, is actually a national threat in the topic of the balance between import versus export. Because, well, because pro-Israeli Englander consume 10 billion British pounds, but they exports the products of 40 billion 599 million 999,999 British pounds and 99 British cent. Okay. On the other hand, pro-Palestine Englander exports nothing, but they consume the imported products of 35 billion 700 million British pounds. Well, that is the national threats in the topic to balance import versus export. Well, actually, it is the national threat to England trade balance between export versus import. Well, that Mufassil the mental called the real democracy. Okay. Now, well, now Mufassil, why Mufassil the mental address Israel as a fake democracy? Because that is simple. In the trade balance between import and export, well, Israeli export of products and only Israeli can consume the imported products. Well, and as an imported products, none of Palestinian terrorist supporters can consume. Well, if you are citizen of Israel but you support Palestinian terrorists, you cannot consume any imported products because you did not contribute to export the products. Well, then you have no right to consume the imported products. Well, that is clear. Well, now it is clear for me that why Mufassil the mental address Keir Starmer England as a real democracy, because England under the Prime Ministry of Keir Starmer, well, pro-Israel Englander can export 4 times then they can consume the imported products. But as a pro-Palestinian Englander export nothing. Well, actually they can export their own product, but this product's exporting quality is useless and that cannot stand on the standard of Englander products. Well, hence the pro-Palestine Englander products goes to trash or dustbins. Okay? Pro-Palestinian Englander cannot export their any products, but they can consume 35 billion 700 million British pound as a imported products. Well, And here is the national trade for the trade balance between export versus import, and that called Mufassil that is addresses as real democracy by Mufassil the Mentals. Okay. And now let me see what is the second points. Okay. Well, okay. And now I would like to try what they import. Okay. They export gold, turbines, cars, gas turbines, car, and packaged medicaments. Well, medical equipments. That is good. They can go export gold. They can export gas turbines, cars. That is good. Okay. Now, what England import? Okay. The major imports is gold car. Okay, nice car. But the petrol problem is that the major import in England is petroleum gas and crude petroleum. Okay. In 2023, the import was around 791 billion. Okay. Well, we know what is crude petroleum. That is nothing but just a crude petrol. Well, in Bangladesh, our cars can be driven by the petrol well. It is just a well, but but problem is that England is every Western country is leaving the era, and England under Rishi Sunak is leaving the era of artificial sun with the temperature of 666 decillion degrees Celsius. But this because the era is this is the calendar of 2025, and now it is weird for you that the top imported product for Englander can be a crude petrol, where the calendar of for England, the calendar of 2025 is the artificial era of artificial sun with the temperature of 666 decillion degrees Celsius. And that is the national trade for England we can consume. Well, I think that is the national threat. Well, England, the citizen of England import crude oil in the calendar of artificial sun with the temperature of 666 decillion degrees Celsius. That is the real democracy for Mufassil the mental. Well, that is the real, if that is the real democracy for Mufassil the mentals, well, then I would like to say I hate democracy because well, the democracy to be addressed as a real democracy by Mufassil the mental contains imported products as crude petrol oil for Lamborghini cars, McLaren cars or any supercars, while this is the calendar of 2025 as a calendar of artificial sun with the temperature of 666 decillion degrees Celsius. Well, and as a point, so well, it is the national. Well, in the parts import business parts, I can say the real democracy of England addressed by Mufassil the mental is actually a national threat for environment in England and a national threat for street communications in England. Well, now why I am saying the real democracy of England addressed by Mufassil the mental is actually national threat for environment of England. Okay, now let me tell you. Well, England are now trying to clean their environment in 100 years. But now, in 2025, Mufassil the mentals addressing real democracy of England allow England to import the crude petrol oil. Well, the supercars like Clinton Tomahawk, Lamborghini, well, McLaren, Bugattis would be operated by petrol. They would not be operated by artificial sun with temperature of 666 decillion degrees Celsius. Okay. And as an effect, well, the effort to clean environment of England has been collapse, can be collapse. Okay. you can say in next 10 days, well, the lifespan of Englander can be decreased into 60 years. Now their lifespan is, average lifespan is 78 years. Well, the real democracy of England addressed by Mufassil the Mental, well, would provide us London city as most polluted city of the world. That is the problem. Well, now why Mufassil the Mental address Israel as a fake democracy? Because the fake democracy of Israel addressed by Mufassil the Mental does not allow to contains and crude petrols for their supercars. Well, the fake democracy of Israel allows, well, I mean, the fake democracy of Israel addressed by Mufassil the Mentals allow Israeli in Tel Aviv to contains artificial sun with the temperature of 666 decillion degrees Celsius as a fuel of car, and as an effect, well, no carbon dioxide would be emitted, and and no carbon dioxide or no pollutions can be emitted. No pollution and elements can be emitted from the supercar of Israel, and as an effect, Israel, Tel Aviv, the capital city of Israel, can be still the pollution-less country. Well, if you can see any Muslim country like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Iran, all of city of this country are polluted. Well, even in the Arabic world, all cities of all countries are polluted city, but there is an exceptions. And which country is the exceptions? The exception that is beautiful Israel. There every city is containing a beautiful environment without the pollutions. Well, there is the points why Mufassil the Mental address Israel as a fake democracy. Well, now Mufassil the Mentals contains Israel as a fake democracy in the first point, and the second point is that to okay, to say something about Israel's. Well, now let's see what Mufassil the Mentals. Okay. In 47 seconds, it is not even 10 minutes. Well, now here I would like to say some morality. Okay, it would be pretty for me. Well, if Kariminati say 10 times abusive word in 10 minutes, well, he say abusive word one time per minute. Okay, that means he say abusive word one time per 60 seconds, and sometimes Carrie say 5 abusive words in 15 minutes. That means he say one abusive word per 3 minutes. And the roasting material was capable to be abusive. Hence, hence the clean mindset, nobody of the clean mindset audience are angry on Carrie sir. But what about Mufassil the Mentals? Well, what about Mufassil the Mentals? Its significance are dangerous moments. Well, to addressing Benjamin Netanyahu, the Honorable Prime Minister of Israel, he say 5 abusive words in 47 seconds. Well, that means one abusive word in 9 seconds. Nowadays, when we can say one word, one sentence, that can take 12 minutes, or sometimes that can save 18, that can say, takes 12 seconds or 18 seconds. Well, but okay, now here I am preparing for the here I am preparing for sleeping times. Okay, now let's see the preparations for sleeping, and I continue my points. Well, you can see that Mufassil the Mentals abuse Benjamin Netanyahu in 5 times in 47 seconds. That means one time abusive word per 9 seconds. Where the carries are, as we know, he says we know the abusive roaster are, well, carries are, say, well, 5 times abusive word per 15 minutes in 15 minutes video. That means in 15 minutes video, carries are, say, one time abusive word per 3 minutes. Well, one times abusive well, now let me say, what is the meaning of 3 minutes? Well, in there 3 minutes means 180 seconds. That means where carriers are can say one abusive word per 180 seconds. Well, Mufassil the mental say 5 times abusive word in 47 seconds. That means Mufassil the mental is 20 times abusive person than the honorable roaster Carriser, and she called herself a honorable British lawyer. Well, in which Englander Supreme Courtroom allow you to say 5 times abusive words in 47 seconds? Just 2 minutes. Okay. Now let's have some points for me, and I would take care of it just for 2 minutes. Okay. Well, now you know us when we say something negative points or criticism to our negative persons to be prime minister or national defense force. National defense force or the national intelligence director, we do not say a single word in our 1 hour live streaming. So, suddenly if we can say one offensive word, I mean the one abusive word, it is just on the, we can say mistakenly, here we can say, and in 10 live streaming and one word, we say no abusive words on the our roasting material persons. Previously in the main roasting channels, I have roasted Tulsi Gabbard in 10 times. I say no abusive word on her. Well, if I have said one abusive word mistakenly, it is mistakenly just because we cannot control our emotions. But there is one abusive word in 1 hour's live streaming. But the problem is that Mufassil the mentals. Now I can hear with you. Okay. Here you can say Mufassil the mental say Netanyahu has the audacity to say if the UK recognize Palestine as a state, the Israeli would never visit the UK. Well, it is the point because Palestinian state is the terrorist state. Even we Bangladeshi should never recognize Palestinian state. Well, here is 30 at the 13 seconds. Here is abusive word. Well, in after 3 seconds, we got the seconds abusive words. Well, after 3 seconds, here is third abusive words. Well, after 7 seconds, here is fourth abusive word. You can criticize the Israel. It is normal. Okay. Well, 26 seconds. Well, after 15 seconds, here got misinformations about democracy. I have debunked. Well, here is 47 seconds. Well, here is fifth abusive words. Now from 13 to 47, we go the 34. Well, now here we can get 30 in 34 seconds. We know that Mufassil the mentals say 5 abusive words and 1 misinformations about democracy. Okay. Well, that means 1 abusive word per 7 seconds. On the other hand, the professional abusive roaster carries her abuse, say 5 abusive word, 5 times abusive word in 15 minutes. That means abusive word per 3 minutes. Well, now what is 3 minutes? That is 180 seconds. Well, now here we can say well, that means here we can say Mufassil the mental is almost Mufassil the mental is almost 26 times abusive than the Carrie who was a professional abusive roaster. Well, we love Carrie sir as a funny because of his funny reactions, where he normally says some abusive word, but in 15 times, in 15 minutes, Carrie sir say one time abusive word per 180 seconds. But in the short, what we say? We say that Mufassil the mentals save 19 Mufassil the mental say 5 abusive words per 34 seconds. That means here we can say Mufassil the mental is almost 26 times abusive than the Carissa. Now just imagine what if we allow Mufassil the mental to have a video of 15 minutes. Okay. Now let's see what would be the points. Well, now here we can I cannot understand, but now 15 minutes multiplied by 60 seconds divided by one time abusive words rates, that is 5.3. That means if Mufassil the mental would be allowed to say something about Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu in 15 minutes, well, Mufassil the mental would say almost 170 times abusive words. Well, now that is too disgusting. Well, it doesn't mean that you cannot criticize Israel. It doesn't mean that. Well, now let me, okay, just for 1 minute. Okay. Well, now here we can say some things. Well, now I can play the podcast. Well, here Islamic crusader Michael Caesar Santa, supporters and the criticizer of Israel. Here you can see. Okay. You know that I am supporters of Israel, but still I can roast Israel in 3 times per 3 years. Well, and each episode contains almost 3 hours without any abusive words. Now let's see what is the meaning of 3 hours. Okay. We know that 3 hours means as we know that 3 hours mean 3600 seconds. Now here we can say my each video contains almost the duration of 10,800 seconds without any abusive word. Okay. Now what if Mufassil the mental can say something about Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu in the video with the duration of 10,800 seconds? Okay. Now let's see. Well, Mufassil the mental would contains almost 2038 times abusive word against Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, and in 3 videos Mufassil the mental contains 6,000 almost 6,200 abusive word against Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. But here is the difference between Mufassil the mental and me. Here I have roasted Israel 3 times without any abusive words. And what about Mufassil the mentals? 5 abusive word in okay, let's check. What about Mufassil the mentals? Okay. Mufassil the mentals say almost 5 abusive word in 34 seconds. Well, now here is a sleeping times, but it is the perfect sleeping times for me. Well, generally in that times I can be sleep 2 hours earlier or 1 hour earlier. Okay, but this times it is meaningful for me to aware you about Mufassil the mentals. Okay. Well, now let's focus on the gross domestic products and the capital income. Okay. Here I can say what is gross domestic products and the capital incomes. We can say, well, just take it. Well, here my points is that Mufassil the mental should know about the economy of England. Here, as gross domestic products, England contained 3 trillion United States dollars, where 2 trillions 999 billion 999 millions, okay, 999,999 United States dollars as a contributed by pro-Israel Englander, and 1 United States dollars are contributed by neutral Englander. Okay. On the other hand, as capital income, England contains 50,000 United States dollars, where 49,999 United States dollar 99 United States cent are contributed by pro-Israel Englander, and 1 United States cent are contributed by neutral Englander. Okay. And now here you can see now, well, more as an economy, well, let me tell you about gross domestic products as my points of, well, as my points of gross domestic products of England. We know that the gross domestic product of England is almost 3 trillion United States dollars, where 2 trillion 999 billions 999 millions 999 thousands, well, 999 United States dollars are contributed by pro-Israeli Englander, and 1 United States dollars are contributed by neutral Englander. Now, in live stream, we know what is a neutral Englander. Neutral Englander is an Englander who supports neither Israel nor Palestinian terrorists in the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists. Okay. Now here almost 25% voters bring the woke government of England to support Palestinian terrorists as a state. Okay. Here is a evil points. Well, now let me say what is the population of England in there. It is 60 millions almost. Well, 15 millions. Well, Oh, Mufassil, the mentals cannot speak in English properly. Well, she say 5 times abusive word in 34 seconds. That means she cannot speak English without any abusive words. Well, okay, 15 million. That means 1 crore 50 lakh Englander brought an woke government of England to support Palestinian terrorists as a recognized state. Well, here, here is the point. But there has no contributions on gross domestic products of England. Well, here you know that England gross domestic product is 3 trillion United States dollars. Well, 15 million pro-Palestinian Englander. That means 1 crore 50 lakh pro-Palestine Englander has no contributions in the gross domestic products of England. Well, in Hindi, well, काम के ना काज के दुश्मन अनाज के. Well, that means a lazy burden. They are just a lazy burden for the economy of England. Well, you can say what would be the population of pro-Israel Englander? Well, let's guess only 10 lakhs. Oh, only 1 million, right? Okay. 1 million pro-Israel Englander contribute 2 trillion 999 billion 999 million 999,000 999 United States dollars as the gross domestic product of England. It is the economic power of 10 lakhs, 1 million Englander who support Israel in the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists. Well, and the 15 million Englander to be supporter of Palestinian terrorists, what is the contribution of on gross domestic products? They are just with a lazy burden. In Hindi, here is a proverb that is काम के ना काज के दुश्मन अनाज के. Okay? Well, now they can eat 360 kilo breads per month, but they can have the 15 million pro-Palestine Palestine Englander can eat 360 kilogram per person bread in 1 month, but they can contains no contribution on the gross domestic products of England. But still, they can live in England and they can have voter rights to vote their favorite candidate to be government of England. And that is the joke. Well, this type of joke, Mufassil the mental address as Mufassil the mental address a real democracy. Well, if it is real democracy, I hate real democracy and I love fake democracy, that in Israel. Because in Israel, well, only pro-Israeli person can live in Israel, because pro-Israeli person can have a contributions for gross domestic product of Israel. Well, 100% gross domestic products of Israel are contributed by the pro-Israel Israelis. And Mufassil, accordance with Mufassil the mentals, that is fake democracy. And what is real democracy? Well, pro-Israeli, 1 million pro-Israeli Englander. Well, can contribute 2 trillion 999 billion 999 million 999,000 999 United States dollars as their contribution on the gross domestic products of England. And 15 million, I mean 1 crore 50 lakhs pro-Palestine Englander are just a काम के ना काज के दुश्मन अनाज के. That means the lazy burdens. Well, that means the lazy burdens. Hence, they have no contributions on the gross domestic product of England. But the 15 million pro-Palestine Englander who support Palestinian terrorists but has no contribution on gross domestic product of England can live in England and they can have a voter rights to choose their favorite candidate to be the government of England. Well, and according to the Mufassil, the mental, this England is a democracy. That is actually the joke. Because it is destroying our favorite England. We love that England as our favorite. But the favorite democracy of England or for Mufassil the mental is just destroying the gross domestic product system for England, but still the lazy burden can live in England, and that is a joke. Okay, now here I was talking about gross domestic products, but what if I can talk about the capital income? Well, England contains capital income of 50,000 United States dollars. Okay, where 49,999 United States dollars, 99 United States cents are contributed by pro-Israel Englander who support Israel in the conflict between Israel versus Palestine. Well, their population is 1 million, and 15 times populations, we can say the Englander to support Palestinian terrorists. Well, and what is Palestine supporter Englander contributions on the capital income of England? Zero. Egg of the horse. Well, it is the impossible than the fantastic world. But now we are talking about real capital income of England. Well, as a real capital of England, we can say here is the points. Okay. $1 million Englander contribute 49,999 United States dollars, 99 United States cents as a contribution on capital income of England. Well, and 15 times population of Englander to support Palestine. What is their contribution as a capital income for England? They are just like a काम के ना काज के दुश्मन अनाज के. Well, Palestine supporter Englander cannot be doctor. Palestine supporter, Palestine supporting Englander cannot be engineer. Palestine supporting Englander cannot be pilot. Palestine supporting Englander cannot be police officer. I am talking about the skills. Okay? Palestine supporting Englander cannot be judge of England Imperial Court accordance with their skill. Well, and here you can say, well, accordance with Mufassil the mentals, well, 15 million Englander brought a real democracy in England where they do not have to be doctor, they do not have to be engineer, they do not have to be police officer, they do not have to be business women, they do not have to be judge with their skills. Well, but they would have to be this in the with the recommendations of the Imam of the all Masjid of England. Well, okay. And here is problems. Mufassil, when okay, when pro-Palestine Englander can be doctored only in the base of recommendation by the Imam of the Masjid of England, well, their medical treatment almost destroy the medical system of England. And in the points of that, pro-Palestine Englander doctors can bring wasting money system in as included in medical system of England. Okay. Well, I am living in the slum house. Well, but I would like to say the slum house look like to at the address as a highest building in 1912 because in that times it was just built. Okay, and now it is the calendar of 2025. The building remains strong in well, 25 subtract by 12 is that for 25 subtract by 12 is 13. Well, this building is strongest to stay in 113 years. 113 years. Well, the 113 years strength building can be contains a civil engineer of Englander, civil engineer as nationality of Englander. Well, they would support Israel. Okay. Now, what if the building would be built by the engineer who would support Palestine. Well, in the morning, say 6 o'clock, building would be complete. In the morning 7 o'clock, 1 hour later, building would collapse fast. But still, 15 millions, Englander who support Palestinian terrorists can be engineered in the base of recommendation by the Imam of Masjid of England. Well, now, as every building infrastructure of London City would be collapsed in the hand of pro-Palestine Englander engineers. But they can have a voter rights to choose their favorite woke government of England. Well, and accordance with Mufassil the mentals, it is the real democracy. And what is fake democracy in Israel? Fake democracy in Israel is that, every Israeli can be healed in Israeli medical systems. Even, every non-Israeli neighbor Muslim patient can be healed in a medical system of Israel if they do not support Palestinian terrorists. In Israeli medical systems, if you are a Jordanian or if you are a Syrian Muslims, if you are a Jordanian Muslims, if you are a Lebanese Muslims, if you are Egyptian Muslims, but you are neutral between you are the neutral in the conflict between Israel versus Palestinian terrorists, and if you are a medical patient, you are welcome in the medical system of Israel and you can be healed in 3 minutes. That is the fake democracy of Israel. Mufassil the mental address. Okay. If you are a Egyptian Muslim, you are neutral in the conflict between Israel versus Palestine. And your wish, you are capable to build your wishful, your individual palace as your wish. You can hire a civil engineer from Israel, civil architect from Israel, and civil mechanic from Israel, and they would build your or desirable individual palace as a beautiful and strong palace. They can build in 3 Mufassil, the mental uh, address Israel under Netanyahu is a fake democracy. Well, now as you can say, fake democracy is always best for me, and real democracy, Mufassil the mental claim, is actually useless for me. First of all, it is the national threat in my national trade balance between import and export, and now it is the national threat. Mufassil the mental addressing national, well, Mufassil the mental addressing real democracy is the actual national threat for national gross domestic products and the national capital income comes. And here is a large threat we just don't. Okay, and here is a large threat we can assume. Okay, well, now in the points I did not talk about the points. Okay, and last is well, Mufassil the mental address herself a British citizen. Okay, which okay, I don't know. Well, short time British citizen can be British citizen or not, I don't know. Well, Mufassil the mental is the temporary citizen of England for 30 years. Okay, she is 56 years 2023. Okay, well, she born in almost 1965. She has born. Okay. Well, as 1972, her age is 6 years old. She was the student of class 1. That means she born in 1966. Well, that means actually she is Pakistani by birth. We can say that Mufassil the mental is actually Pakistani by birth. Well, but after 5 years, when her age is 5 years, well, Bangladesh has been independent. Okay. Well, she became a citizen of Bangladesh by birth because she born in Dhaka. Technically, she is a citizen of both of Pakistan and Bangladesh by birth because she born in Dhaka, and Dhaka is the capital city of East Pakistan before Bangladesh Liberation War. Okay. Mufassil Well, technically, Mufassil, the mental, can consider herself as a Pakistani by birth, and at the same time, she can call herself Bangladeshi by birth. Okay. In 1991, just because of session jam, educational session jam, she started to be citizen of England with the permissions. Okay. In 2022 month of the December, well, Mufassil the mental is citizen of Canada by permissions. Well, that means she is not British citizen anymore. From the calendar of the December 2022, Mufassil Islam is not British citizen anymore, but still Mufassil Islam will address herself a British citizen to say abuse is a part-time abusive word in 34 seconds against Israel under the Honorable Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, containing the real man in the country is a fake democracy, and containing a gender-changing transgender as a prime minister is a real democracy accordance with Mufassil the mentals. Well, in October 2024, well, somebody want to roast Mufassil the mentals just because Mufassil the mentals would like to has vote for Kamala Harris. Well, and the point is that Mufassil the mentals technically Pakistani by birth, Bangladeshi by birth, temporary citizen of England by permissions, and permanent citizen of Canada by permissions. She does not have a voting right in the United States of America. Okay. But still, she wished that Kamala Harris, the anti-national Americans, can be the president of United States of America. Well, and in the topic between England and Israel, Mufassil the mental content lecturing us that what is the real democracy and what is the fake democracy. But first of all, that is firstly that is 47 seconds. 47 lecture cannot be started even in 47 seconds. Well, secondly, well, here is a misinformation between the real democracy and fake democracy. And thirdly, well, Mufassil the mental abused Israel 5 times in 34 seconds. Well, if you split, if Mufassil the mental would only split hate against Israel, that was okay. Well, the shot would be restricted. Well, that means below 28 years persons cannot see their shots. But what is the problem? The problem is that now Mufassil the mental is evolving in to start to abusive 5 times abusive word in 34 seconds of the 47 seconds shots. Well, and I hope perhaps if Mufassil the mental could be citizen of England, well, in the under the Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, well, and the Queen Elizabeth II, well, and now every bureaucrats of England and even Charles III would regret that why I am appointing Mufassil the mental as a citizen of England. Well, Mufassil the mental cannot speak English in 34 seconds without any abusive words. Well, on the other hand, now check it. Well, on the other hand, I can speak English in 2 hours live streaming without any abusive words, and the respect for the Mufassil the mentals. Well, and now, well, here we can say the entire England and entire bureaucracy of England would regret why I am appointing Mufassil the mental as a citizen of England and a citizen of Canada, while Mufassil the mental cannot speak English in 34 seconds without any abusive words. Well, now I am worried about Mufassil the mentals that what would be her IELTS score. Well, how Mufassil the mentals get a chance to be educated in the University of England, while Mufassil the mental cannot speak in English in 34 seconds without any abusive words. I mean, well, how can I am wondering that how could Mufassil the mental get an opportunity to study as a law student in the University of England while Mufassil Islam cannot speak English in 7 seconds without any abusive words. Well, it is our concerning points, and well, abusive word can be the culture of England if it there can be one abusive word in 10 minutes or one abusive word in 1 hour. But what about Mufassil the mentals? 10 seconds she cannot speak English in 7 seconds without any abusive words. Well, now in 1 hour, when she has an opportunity to speak in English in 1 hour, here already 2038 abusive words has been spoken. Well, now now startlingly every pro-Palestine Bangladeshi say think that Mufassil the mental say as British citizen response to support England against Israel, but now as a Mufassil the mental short contents of with a duration of 47 seconds. Now Mufassil the mental is a headache of the transgender Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Okay, if I said Keir Starmer as a transgender Prime Minister, I would apologize, but well, Keir Starmer for the England Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Mufassil the mental is just a headache. And well, my word has been off in some 2 hours. Well, I could say something on the points, but for this time, well, I am late for 2 hours as a sleeping times. Okay, see you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you. Hey.